Hi guys! Is there not some days when you're sitting at home thinking, I feel like something sweet, but you don't have anything at hand? When if there is one dessert you can make very quickly, very simply with a few ingredients, it is the crème caramel. Recipe of the day. It's also called, I think, the custard pudding in English, and it's very, very easy to make. About 15 minutes prep for the time, 35 minutes cooking time, and it's just a few ingredients. It's basically little ramekins. You pour in some beautiful caramel sauce inside, put a custard mix in there, cook it in a bain-marie or a bath of hot water in the oven for 30 minutes, and you've got this lovely dessert, cold because they have to stay in your fridge, and you can pick them one by one and watching TV start to eat these things away. It's a beautiful dessert. So without further ado, let's get started on making this beautiful crème caramel. Okay, so how do we make a French crème caramel? I would say by the book, what is the original recipe that is taught in culinary school. 3 main ingredients: full cream milk, sugar and eggs. Okay, there's a bit of vanilla flavoring, a little bit of water to make a caramel. These are the ramekin I'm using. You can use big ones, small ones, tall ones, anything you like. In terms of the flavoring, the recipe said for the best result, we have to use a fresh vanilla pod. If you don't have that, you can use, as an example, vanilla powder, which is just the seeds already in a container. Or if you don't have that even, you can use this or anything else, which is like a vanilla essence or vanilla extract or liquid, or just to flavor it, like a flavoring ingredient you can find in any supermarket. So it's very easy and very simple. Now let's see in details how to make this. Before we even start to prepare the crème caramel, we have to make the caramel sauce. So, a high heat, full blaze ahead. I'm taking 75 grams of sugar, making half the proportion, and my water. Put everything in there, and you're gonna basically wait on a high heat until you get a caramel. Now, halfway through, you're gonna get something like this. It's white, it's bubbling away, and nothing is happening, it's not brown. Relax, this is perfectly normal. A caramel takes time, and it's only at the last minute that everything is going to start to get brown, and it is then that you have to take it off the heat and pour it immediately in the ramekins. When you get this color, kind of golden, you are seconds from the caramel to be ready. Put your heat off and prepare to pour it in your ramekins. Okay, using straight off. As you can see the color of my caramel. Be careful, it is extremely hot. And you just pour a little disc of caramel, and you can put a bit more, just finish your pan, and you're done. Be extremely careful with caramel, it's very dangerous. Okay, this is what you want to have. A nice coating just of the bottom of your ramekins. Alright, so the crème caramel has to be cooked what we called au bain-marie, which is basically a way of cooking ingredients in a bath of hot water or almost boiling water. So what you need, ideally a roasting tray like this, in which we're going to pour water and put our crème caramel in. So the first thing you need to do, your tray, then you take baking paper and you put it at the bottom of your dish, like this. This is to avoid that there's too much rubbling at the bottom of your creams, okay? When this is done, you put water to the boil in a pan, or if you put your kettle on, and you have enough water at hand that you can pour it afterwards, okay? So, the proper way to make it, when you start with the paper, you put your ramekins, I'm just using 3 here to have plenty of space to show you, okay? From here, we're gonna then pour the mix in the ramekin, and then, only then, we're gonna add the water at last. And I'm gonna do this with the oven door open and by the oven, to avoid that when you carry this with the water, if you do this and you move, what's gonna happen? All the water is gonna overflow and you're gonna ruin your cream. That happens to so many people. If you don't do it the right way, you're gonna have to redo everything from scratch. So please, we have to make it the proper way. So the first thing we're gonna do here is put our heat on like low to medium, and I'm gonna use some milk, the full cream. I'm using half a liter of full cream milk, which is a half of the listed ingredients in the video description, okay? Because I'm just doing a demonstration. In the video description you have all the precise ingredients based on 1 liter of milk. A half a liter of milk, you can make roughly like 4 small creme caramel using these ramekins as a rough guide. Okay, you put your milk in a pan. I'm gonna use the vanilla powder, roughly 1/4 teaspoon. Don't worry if it looks a little bit like there's a lot of beans, okay? They would just dissolve in the milk when it starts to boil, and we're gonna filter them out. So most of them are gonna be filtered out afterwards. Next step, we're gonna mix our eggs and sugar. I forgot to mention, guys, but preheat your oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit before you start cooking. I'm taking 3 eggs, full eggs. I'm gonna break them, start to mix them a little bit together, like an omelette, and I put then all my sugar. As soon as you put your sugar in, start mixing, and don't leave the sugar on top of the eggs sitting there because it's gonna burn the egg. So what you're gonna do here, you're gonna whisk until you get a whitish kind of mix. You're now ready to pour your milk in the mix. So your milk has to reach the boil, let it boil for just barely a minute or even less, 30 seconds, and then you're gonna start by pouring a little bit at a time because you don't want the eggs to get cooked immediately. So you start bit by bit and you mix everything. What I personally do is I use one of those things to start and scoop out all the foam, and I put it in another container before I sieve the mix because it's way easier. So you see, the goal is to get as much as the foam off to reveal our mix below, which is the milk, the vanilla, the eggs and the sugar. Right, so the final step, like I said before, we're gonna pass the mix through a sieve in case you have debris, in case you have maybe an eggshell hanging around or anything unwanted, to make sure you're not gonna eat anything bad, okay? Put this on the side, there's no foam, and we're gonna pour this in our ramekin. Alright, so I've got my water ready on the side. I'm gonna take some of my mix and very gently pour some in each dish, and I'm gonna use enough mix to cover basically almost at the top of the preparation. So, you know, use whatever you have, but you get the idea. You just fill your mix almost to the top. So as I said, I've moved my ramekin with the dish in my oven. So like this, I don't have to carry with the water. And the way to do it, you take your boiling water and very gently, you're gonna pour your water in so you can control everything that's going on and you don't overflow the water over your ramekin. When this is done, you basically push this very gently in, close your oven door and leave this to cook for 35 minutes. After 35 minutes, I've taken my cream out of the oven, and now I can immediately take them out and put them, it's hot, put them out on my board. When your creme caramel are out of the oven, in order to make sure they're cooked, you take a knife, you plunge it somewhere in, like this is my test subject. And as you can see, my knife is coming out clean, meaning it's perfectly cooked. I'm gonna now leave them to rest. When they're cold enough, put them in the fridge, and then we'll then serve them up. I took out the creme caramel from the fridge after an hour or so. It's nice and cold, and as you can see, it's totally set. You can eat it as is, plunging your spoon in there by the couch and enjoy that little cream, but the real way to do it, and we're going to do it on camera quickly, is to take it out. So basically you take a knife, and you have to kind of plunge the knife and go all around. And as you can see, the caramel start to spill out. And you're supposed to turn the cream, tap it a little bit. Okay, so second attempt, because it didn't go out, you really have to make sure you disconnect all the sides. There's a bit of air, so when you leave it like this, either you leave it for a little bit, it's just, yes, I got it. This is the creme caramel, which for my taste is a little bit, like I say, a bit, you know, kind of solid. And I'm gonna show you, so let's try to take a piece from the camera. So you can see, you see, surprisingly, it's actually not that bad. Maybe I've been a bit critical. Not too bad. But look, guys, this is the idea, the foolproof recipe for the creme caramel. Be careful when you turn it around because it can be a bit of a nightmare, but away from that, you get the idea. So that completes our video just before the end of the year, and then we're gonna be fresh to start. And by the way, guys, I think you're just about to reach the 10,000 subscribers before the new year. I think there's like 3 or 4 subscribers left, so thanks everyone. Massive, massive, really great news for all of us, for me, for you. The channel can continue. I'm really positive about it, and it's gonna be a great new year. So have fun, and I'll see you next year for more video. Of course, always subscribe, comment if you want, and I'll respond to all the comments. See you guys, bye bye.